Evening everybody, Tuesday 1st of July, just finishing off the barley here at Burwell. Literally got a couple of acres left, had a couple of little mistakes today, managed to bend a divider which was not ideal. Poppy left her tailgate open slightly and spilled a ton and a half of barley on the floor, so we'll have to get that cleared up tomorrow. And yeah, we've also got an AdBlue problem at the minute, which is just restricting the combine, and it's just happened on the last couple of acres, which isn't a problem. But like everything, start of the season, you know, good to iron out any little niggles and stuff. So Crawfords are actually out tomorrow just to do a few warranty jobs and that to the combine, nothing major. And they'll sort the AdBlue problem out tomorrow. Spoke to Dan, the fitter from Crawford this evening, said it will just be an AdBlue filter, just needs changing from the you know, error codes that have come up on the screen this evening in the last 20 minutes. Yeah, and hopefully we'll try and get this baled and potentially planted with stubble turnips by Saturday night and rolled in. So I don't know what the weather's going to do. They're on about one forecast says a lot of rain, another forecast says nothing. So we'll try and see what happens in the next few days and over the weekend and early part of next week. We're going to start combining barley with the other combine, another farm where that's sat, on Thursday. That's looking like it's just about ready. It needs sort of another day or so on it. So we're going to have a go on Thursday, I think, with the class combine, and then we'll get this one ready for oilseed rape. Hopefully crack on into that next week. Wheat's moving on very quickly. Earlier on, before we started combining, had a look at the wheat across the road here, some X days, and that's about 25% moisture at the moment. So you give that another sort of 10-12 days, I should think that'll be fit to cut. So depending on what weather we have, we could be in wheat by the 12th, 13th of July, which will be a new record, I would say. Never cut any wheat that early before. I think the 22nd of July is the earliest I've ever cut wheat. So yeah, we'll just have to see what the weather does, really. That's the main thing. Yeah. Get some balers on as well and get this baled up. So yeah, we'll add more as the next few days go on, with baling and hopefully drilling some stubble turnips at the weekend. Thank you.
Hi guys, Jack again, back on the video. So we talked in the last video about rigging up a hose pipe we're spraying water on the barley just to try and get the moisture percentage up. If you can see, it's a little bit dark, but we got just a garden hose. We wanted to rig it up from the spray bowser, but we come up with a bit of a quicker idea. We got a hose pipe, and because we're currently still tipping barley in this shed, we've run it just over the top of the door, and then it just goes into our bin system, up and it goes up the ladder, and then it's just spraying directly. You've got the elevator that lifts the barley up, and then you've got the dresser, which dresses all the barley, takes the ears off, any ears that come through, takes all them off, and the water is just spraying directly on the barley as it goes back down the elevator and up into the bins. So it's quite a good idea. This is all the barley from 130 acres. We haven't quite filled the shed, but it's quite a lot compared to what we sort of thought we was going to get. And I'm slowly bucketing it with the JCB from here into the pit, which is then going to run up into the bins. But it's quite a slow process. The old bin system is years and years and years old, but it still works. So we still use the bins right up to this day. So this is the last trailer of the day. Not bad, about 100 acres we cut. and we started at 7 this morning just to try and have the moisture as high as possible. So this is our K2 18-ton push, compact and push trailer. It's more of a silage and maize trailer, but we do use it for grain as well. It's a little bit high, but it works, so it's a good job. So yeah, as you can see, so she backs up, because the wheels are quite far to the back, not like your normal grain trailer. You do end up sort of getting in the crop a bit with the wheels, but it's not the end of the world. So she'll lift her tailgate all the way up, and then there's a big ram on the front here, and that just pushes a big plate all the way back, and that pushes the load all the way out. So you know, this sort of barn, you wouldn't be able to tip a trailer like this, you know, without catching the door, and it would be very hard, and it would take a lot longer to empty sort of 18 to 20 tons of crop. So with a push, you know, electricity wires, low roofs, you know, you don't have any worries. You just push it out and pull forward, pull the plate all the way back to the front, put your tailgate back down, and then you're away. And I think it roughly takes 2 to 3 minutes in and out. So it's yeah, it's brilliant. And we've had this trailer for a couple of years now, and we use it primarily just for grain because we don't do a lot of maize anymore. So yeah, it's a good trailer. And as that comes down, that then has 4 pins underneath, which locks in place. And the clever thing about this trailer is you got a light on the front here. So I'll just put your door back up and I'll show them the light. So when the door's open, the red light comes on, and to make it easier for the driver, when the door goes back down, put the door down, it locks in place, and then the light will go off, and that way, you know, you want to always make sure the door's shut, and that just helps you. You don't see that on many trailers, so it's quite a handy feature, really. So yeah, that's it. All good. Hi guys, Jack back here. Ivan's here as well.
Yeah.
We got our balers on the back, not the front.
Yeah, yeah.
And we're baling a bit of barley today. We done a bit yesterday. Had a few little small problems, which is always like that at the start of baling. But we're up here in Burwell today, cracking on. So yeah, we got the Gen 7 939 here. Ivan's got, what's this, a Gen 4?
That's the old S4 yeah. 939. So that tractor there was what was on the tanker previously.
Yeah,
before
yeah.
the new Gen 7 arrived.
Both 939s, but this one's newer, that one's older. And we got 2 balers on the back, both identical. Krone 8-stringers HDP2. Which stands for high density packer. So yeah, we've run Krone balers now for Tom's other company, the straw business, this will be the 3rd season now. We're happy enough. We've demoed a couple of other balers in the last year, and I think
probably about the best baler on the back, Krone, really, to be fair.
Yeah, I mean, it's a bit of a dream setup, Fendt and a Krone baler, but yeah. Makes all the other people jealous, I'd say. So yeah, they're good. They're good. You get about in a good crop of wheat, you'd look at like 580 kilo bales. That's what we try and aim for. But with the moisture sat at about 7%, 8%, it's quite hard to get the weight in them at the moment.
Yeah. So the way obviously the baler works is pretty obvious. You drive up along the row of straw. We'll go down here into the pickup. And then it will go into like a preload chamber where you may be able to see there's some rakes in there. And then those rakes will pick it up, and then if you look down in here, probably can't really see it from here without the sides up, but it will go up into the chamber, and then as it gets pushed up into the chamber, the packer will come behind it, smash it down tight into a bale, which then it will come out the back here, and then on top of the baler there's a little wheel that keeps count of where the bale at is at all times, and when it gets to the right length where we want it to, bang, knot is set off, ties the bale off, and then obviously as the bales keep coming out they keep falling out at the back. And on the back here we've got weight scales, so once the bale comes out of the chamber and sits on the tailgate here, it will sit on here for a moment, and then the scales will read the bale and try to get a weight. It's not always the most accurate, but it's pretty close enough. Currently the scales on my baler aren't working for some reason, so we'll have to look into that in a minute. So hence why I keep calling Jack up all the time. What's the bale? What's the bale weight? What's the bale weight? Yeah, no worries, do well.
Yeah, and the other thing is these balers have got, if you come around this side, Matthew, they've got an auto grease system, which is quite good. A lot of new machines out now has it. So you'd pump grease into there. They roughly take about, if you have a good day baling of about 800, 900 bales, that'll take near off the whole lot, which is like 6 to 8 sort of tubes of grease. So you pump them in the morning, and then that has grease lines all over the baler, feeding grease.
Handy enough, because what is there? There's only probably about, what, 6, 7 nipples that you've got to grease up
probably,
yourself?
Yeah, 10 max grease nipples, like the PTO shafts you obviously have to do every day. And then it's got this oiler here, which is the same. You top that up, and that will take oil to your pickup chains, and then it's programmed that every so often it'll squirt oil onto your chains and keep them lubricated. So it's quite a clever thing, but it's what you need to be able to get the output that we're trying to achieve.
I think for what we do, I don't think any other baler would be able to do what a Krone does for us, to be fair.
Yeah, you can do upwards of sort of 80 bales an hour, and if you work that out per minute, you're doing more than 1 bale a minute, and 560, 580 kilo, you're not going to get that from anyone else.
No, that's the truth.
And if you can, we would welcome another baler to try and compete, but I don't think you can. So until then, the old Krone's what's going to stay, I think.
Yeah. So there you go. Any dealers, if you've got a baler that you think can outbeat a Krone, be our guest. Bring it down.
Yeah.
We'll have a bit of a field day.
That is the truth. So this is an example of pretty good sort of bale. All the 8 strings are intact. So if you
nice and tight.
If you come and look at the knot, it's not all about just pumping out bales. You got to make sure the knot here is correct, and you got to have all the tail lengths all the same. And if you have too short of a tail, your knot won't tie properly, and then it can pop. And that's how sometimes you get the odd string pop every now and again. But all the tails look pretty good on this bale. When we bale, you kind of aim for like between like 32 and 36 flakes, and what that means is if you look at the side of the bale, you can nearly count, you can nearly see each section. So it's hard to see, you might be able to see on the camera, but there's like lines in the bale, and you'd call them flakes, and if you did count all of them, that would hopefully equal about between 30, 32, 34, 36 flakes. If you tried with an 8-foot bale at roughly 34 flakes, each section should be around 7 to 8 centimetres long, and that's what we aim for every bale. But of course, if you're going too quick, you're going to end up having less flakes, and if you go too slow, you're going to have more flakes. And so you got to get the speed right, the flake size, and the amount of flakes to get the perfect bale.
Also, all depends on what the straw swath's like. If you've got a nice thick straw, swath one side of the field, you'll be going a lot steadier and slower, and you come down to the end of the field and the straw swath thins out. You're going to have to obviously speed up and slow down as if when needed.
Yeah, it's not just pick one speed and go. Every bale, as soon as that bale ties off, it'll count how many flakes it's got, and if it's got too many, then you're going to speed up a bit. If it hasn't got enough, you're going to slow down.
Ideal bale length as well. We like to go sort of 8 foot, 7 foot 11. just so you know, sit on the chaser nicely, and when they go on the back of the lorry, you get a full load on. So as you can see here, we got one of the straw stoss laying down. Which this was combined with our Ideal. I don't know how many of you guys know, obviously the Ideal does leave the straw nicely laid out in the swath, nice good length. If we see here, pick the bales up, you see the straw is all a nice long length. It's not munched up, folded over on itself. So when you're going along with the baler, it does feed in quite nicely into the chamber. So yeah, no, can't really fault the Ideal for laying down straw in the swath.
And if you look down that row, I don't know if the camera will pick it up, but you see it sort of looks shiny, and because with the Ideal, it lays the straw
It lays
one
it
way.
down, so instead of being all folded over on itself, it lays down nice and evenly.
So when you're baling, you got to, especially with an Ideal, you've got to go the same way the straw's been laid. So if you look at this row's going the other way, so you'd go up that run, and then when you get to the end, you'd come down this run, and it'll feed it into the baler nicely. So that if you look up that row, it's sort of a darker colour, and that sort of indicates what way you got to go. With other combines is different, you know, like if you had an axial flow like case combine, you know, we do bale behind probably, I don't know, 5 or 6 different makes of combines. So we do get a good variety of straw, but yeah, with an axial flow you can go either way because it chops it up a lot more, so it'll feed either way. But we like long straw, which is the Ideal and the Lexion. I think New Holland, they all pretty much excel. So yeah.